Lucky Boys Podcast.
Welcome to Lucky Boys Podcast. I'm Will.
I'm Norm.
And today we have our special good friend, actress, singer, theater lady.
Wow.
Thespian.
May.
What an introduction.
Thespian as well. Yeah.
May Yoshioka.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
What is up?
What's up?
It's been so long. We've
I know.
missed you.
I know. I missed you guys. It's been like a solid, almost a year
Yeah.
since we did the last feature film.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been
Right?
almost a year.
So we filmed
Almost a year.
End of August, early September, something like that.
Jeez.
That's crazy. That's weird.
And then the world ended.
What's it like right now with, because you were obviously one of the first ones impacted because you work in the service industry.
Yeah. I work at Le Bernardin, and towards like the end of February, I think we all noticed collectively that we just weren't getting as many people. So many of our customers are international, and the business was bad. And then towards the beginning of March, we were just like, okay, like
Something's up.
Like
Dum, dum, dum.
we actually had 2 big meetings about it, and the chef was like, you know, you guys, like, we might close down. I don't know yet, like, temporarily at least. And then we had the second big meeting, and then he was like, I just decided, like, this morning, like, I changed my mind. We're going to close. And we're actually one of the first restaurants to close because of Corona.
Oh wow.
So
Do you think?
yeah,
do you
everything
think,
happened really fast.
Do you think the chef had an idea? I mean, maybe to his circles, like what's going on in Asia, like what's happening.
Probably. I think it was weird that he had changed his mind. Like, he was so set on continuing everything, like, during the morning, and then suddenly throughout the day, like, he must have gotten, like, some sort of information.
Oh, so this
about,
was within the same day?
Within the same day, he,
Wow.
like, changed his mind and was like, okay, we are going to close. And so, I mean, everybody had to, but we were one of the first ones to do it.
This was during the I guess the actual lockdown news. This came before that, right?
Right before it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I actually, I was kind of freaked out because I was like, what am I going to do without a job,
Right.
And I went to the grocery store, and there was like crazy, like, mile-long line out the door, and it was just, key foods. You had never seen that.
Yeah, I remember that when they were like on the line, stacks of toilet paper.
Yeah.
People coming out with stacks of toilet paper, and I was like, oh damn, maybe I'm not gonna go that crazy. I already stocked up, so I'm good for now.
And now looking back in hindsight, of course, you have like hindsight bias, but like those people were so crazy. Come on.
No, I already knew.
But the thing is, like, nobody knew how bad it was going to get. And it actually did get pretty bad. Like, luckily,
yeah.
as soon as my restaurant closed, I ran away to Massachusetts and was like with my family for a month and a half. And yeah.
And what was the vibe there? Was it very similar? I mean, because New York City,
I was a shut-in. Like, I honestly don't really know. I don't think it was
like at the
nearly
supermarkets, was it really
yeah.
competitive or?
I think it was really intense. Like, you had to walk in a certain way. Like, everybody, this was like in the thick of it when everybody was like really, really like freaked out, super intense. And I honestly didn't leave the house for a month and a half. Like, I literally did not.
That must be torture living with your family.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, me, like I can't stay with my. I mean, I love my mom and dad.
I love mine too. Like, I didn't mean to be like,
and
yeah,
my
I
family.
Yeah.
but having to live with them under their roof and their set of rules.
I literally reverted into my teenage self. Like, it was atrocious. I would be talking to my boyfriend at midnight. My mom would come in and be like, "You're talking a little loud." I would be like, I'm not used to this. And I wasn't allowed to use the kitchen after a certain time. And like, I couldn't, like, there were all these like minuscule rules where I was just like, it's not that bad in the grand scheme of things, but also this is driving me insane.
It wasn't conducive to your insomniac lifestyle.
Right. Considering I usually go to bed at 4 a.m. and like, as you guys know.
Was that how you were like when you were in high school? Or when
yeah.
younger?
Yeah. I think I've always been like that, weirdly. And then honestly, when everything was like shut down, I would sleep until like 4 p.m. and then my dad would make this amazing dinner. I'd wake up for the dinner and then like
What a life.
I would wake up literally like he's such a good cook. Oh my god, like the things he makes. My mom too, but like
And your dad's
he went all
Japanese.
out during quarantine.
Your dad's Japanese and, and your mom is
Irish, American, like British. She's
Asian
white.
guys listening. Hey.
There's hope.
Yeah.
Get it.
You know, they say, because usually.
I've seen that
Congrats
a
to your
lot,
dad.
honestly.
Right? Yeah,
like,
me too. Me too.
What?
Where the male is Asian and the female is white.
I've seen it a lot more often, and I'm just like speaking to my heart.
It's
like I'm a product of you, so thank you. Like thank you so much.
Yeah, it's changing because you know everyone would say every time it's a mixed kid, they go, I bet your dad is white.
I know, and that's it's pretty rare, especially in their generation. Like my mom, yeah. I think my mom's parents weren't really about it either. Like they were just like, oh, you're doing this just to spite us, like yada yada. So,
what was that like growing up? Did you have like any identity crisis growing up?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I think like almost all Asian Americans who I've met like kind of have that because like what bigger culture shock is there than like Asian culture to American culture? Like even like the mask wearing thing, like that's just a given that we have because we just like, not to be whatever, but you think about like the greater good and like you think about like how what you're doing is affecting other people, but like in America it's very individualistic, right? And like you're kind of just like, how is this affecting me, you know?
Right.
But yeah, in like a lot of ways, my first language was Japanese. My parents didn't really want me to watch like American TV or anything until like a certain.
Why was that?
I think they just wanted me to like really be integrated into the culture, into the language, like without actually physically being there, like as much as possible. So my preschool was Japanese, and I went to Japanese school every Saturday and everything like that. So
oh wow,
yeah,
that's amazing that there were those type of resources like where you grew up.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Newton, which is like a very, very big town. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's right next to Boston. And so like there's like a lot of diversity and
there's a lot of diversity there.
Yeah. So then when I moved out to I moved out in elementary school to Central Mass, and like every single family in my new school was white. I was just like, where am I? Like,
did you feel? How old were you at that point?
I think
were you a teenager?
I was in elementary school, so I think I was in like third or some. Like,
okay.
I forget, but
did you? So I guess at that young age, did you feel like you were different ever?
Oh yeah. Like it's so funny how like your environment can like create that for you, because like when I lived in Newton, I didn't feel that at all. But then in Hopedale, I was just like, I am so different. Like everybody here is like cookie cutter, like Uggs, North Face, like, you know, and like it was like this template that I just did not fit. Like I would go to school, bring my bento box and like have like the things that my dad made for me for lunch, and people would be like, what is that? Like,
you're so weird.
That's disgusting. You're eating seaweed. And I'd be like, and you know, like when you're so impressionable, like at that age. So now I'm just like, hell yeah, like wave my CV like a baton. But
yeah, like bitch, wait till you grow up. You're gonna come to you're gonna be down with this ramen right here.
Yeah,
right?
and now sushi is like trendy. So
right. So
it's been always trendy for you.
And
yeah,
exactly. I guess that was the last day you came in with the bento box.
Yeah, it was so sad when I like went up to my parents and I was like, "Can I have PB&J like instead of my onigiris?" You know, and like of course they take it so personal because they've been trying to like make
instill that pride.
Exactly. Yeah. So it took a couple years. I mean, but now I'm very, very proud.
Do you have older siblings?
I do. I have four older siblings.
So they must have went through the same things you went through. Yeah.
I think everybody felt it. And I think we all dealt with it in like kind of similar ways, just kind of like blending in as much as possible, you know? And like, yeah, because like what else can you do in that situation?
Well, did they give you like advice and like, you know, if one day this is gonna happen and
they weren't.
I don't know if siblings do that.
They definitely.
I'm not sure. I would think like they would look out for you.
I have 3 older brothers. Yeah. They looked out for me to an extent, but they were very always like in their own little worlds. Yeah. My sister and I were always like best friends. And so we would like kind of talk to each other about like the things that we were experiencing and stuff. But like, and that definitely helped a lot, like having someone who's like going through the same stuff as you.
So how do you make that adjustment being, I guess, the token Asian girl?
It's so funny because I'm half, so
Right.
it's just like the fact that I was the most like
Diverse
person.
Did they
is, like,
acknowledge
insane.
you? I'm actually curious. Did they acknowledge you as like, okay, you're half, you're one of us?
No,
or were you're something completely different?
something completely different.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
It was
crazy.
really interesting.
Isn't that? I feel like so many Asians nowadays feel that way, where even if you're full Asian, but you're Asian American, you still don't quite fit in America.
Yeah.
And you don't quite fit in anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
So you have this small community, but then Asians are pretty individualistic as well in America, at least. So that within itself, like we're all in our own island and we're all looking for some sort of community. And it does seem like it's changing now. Like Norman was at a protest yesterday.
Yeah. It was a unity march to fight against racism and hate
Particularly what happened with that 89-year-old lady in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn.
Insane.
Right? Where they, two men walked up to this Chinese lady who is 89 years old, smacked her in her face.
Someone's grandma,
This is someone's grandma. This is someone's mom. This is someone's friend, daughter, everything, right? And smacked her in her face for no reason. She didn't do anything. I mean, cameras caught it. She didn't do
really?
anything. Yeah.
Wow.
But it was like pretty like 1990s quality,
Yeah.
grainy and a lot of noise in the footage, and is not and those cowards were wearing hoodies. And what they did was they smacked her and then they put kerosene on her back and lit her on fire. Right. And she didn't she didn't recognize, she didn't really know until she felt, I guess,
some burning sensation,
some burning sensation on her back and her hair.
Yeah, luckily she was for an 89-year-old, she was pretty spry from what I've read. She just like put her back to like a lamppost and then started like wriggling around, getting the fire doused.
Right.
She did it all herself. She was alone. She was there by herself. So
Right.
And just seeing and reading that two young adults or adults, they just came up to her, blindsided her and attacked her, assaulted her, and then lit her on fire. That's crazy to me. And you know what?
In 2020.
Yeah. And the frustrating thing about it is that the police didn't elevate this to a hate crime.
Right.
It's just an assault.
It's just an assault. The police said
Do we
this is
know
not a
they
hate
specifically
crime.
targeted her because she's Asian? Or
Well, yeah, so that's one of the reasonings of because of that, they don't have evidence to state that it's a hate crime.
Right. But it probably is.
As of
sort of a
now,
thing.
because they don't have any suspects
Right.
in custody yet. So.
But I'll tell you what, if they did that to another race of color, you think it would have been a hate crime?
I think it would be
You think-
strongly considered. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where I think a lot
Especially
of people.
with everything going on right now,
Yeah,
with Black
right.
Lives Matter. If like
Right.
if a old black woman was lit on fire, you know for a fact like what it's about.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that even when Asians speak up, they still try to silence Asians. And we got together, and we were sitting down right across with Lex, who helped organize the
event,
protest along with
China Mac, Stephen Lee,
who is running for
assemblyman,
Right.
in Queens. So
then also MC Jin came out to
MC
support
Jen
as
came
well.
out as well. Yeah, so it
Along with
was
several other people.
it was
Shout
a-
out to everybody that was out there.
It was a great group effort. Like people came out. We packed like half the park,
Right.
and then we marched all the way to 62nd precinct, where that precinct is responsible on policing the neighborhood.
You say you pack half the park, but not only were there Asians there, there were also blacks there supporting.
Yeah, it was a very diverse
Right.
group of people. It was blacks, Latinos,
love that.
Asian. But the thing is, like, we need more Asian people out there. I mean,
Right, because
Yeah.
there was
when I say like it was packed half the park, we could have packed the park,
Right.
the playground, everywhere.
Right.
But when I say like it was probably like 30% like other ethnicities and 70% Asians,
And I've
which
seen
is
that.
great. But hey, dude, come on. this is something that's affecting all of us. This is everyone's grandma.
They tried
right?
to burn an 89-year-old lady. Like this is just this, if this doesn't get you mad, doesn't stir something up inside of you, I just, not even if you're Asian, you're just a human being. You're a decent human being, and you're listening, or you read this story and you hear an 89-year-old woman being assaulted by two young, healthy men, and then being lit on fire. I don't care. I don't care if she was purple. I would be outraged.
Yeah, the cowards. I mean, to pick on someone who can't defend themselves, like that's
like the epitome of like cowardice, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how to classify that as anything else, because either it's you don't burn someone and smack an old lady if it doesn't derive from hate.
Yeah.
So I just don't know how else you can classify this. Revenge?
Yeah, I mean, like,
what do you?
I mean, they were carrying kerosene and a lighter. I mean, like, hey, this is premeditated.
This is premeditated.
Come on, they were out looking for someone to attack, or if it's not Asian, like an Asian specific person. I mean, they were premeditated. They knew that they were going to go out there on this day to do something to hurt a person.
I just don't understand how they haven't gotten caught yet.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like,
that's the crazy part.
There's a $10,000 reward. Pay people. Listening. Like, look,
they have them on camera.
Yeah, they have them on camera. Even though it's blurry, I'm sure like people will notice them. Like, oh, this is the way this guy dresses, whatever,
right.
in the neighborhood, and I'm sure they're from the neighborhood. I mean, like, there's no way that
because it's not like they're gonna travel like across the borough just to
well, I don't know that actually. It might happen actually.
Do you think?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they might be, most likely they're from the neighborhood. I feel.
Now, what was that vibe like at the protest? Mm-hmm. Yesterday, was it all love? I mean, because it was a peaceful march.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I mean, it was really peaceful.
But then there were also some people protesting against the protest. Right.
Some people came up,
which is crazy. Again, this is what I mean. The silencing of Asians.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, you could elaborate further.
Yeah. This happened in the beginning where the protest just started, and just rallying everyone together.
They see a bunch of Asians together. Yeah. And Asians are being loud. What?
Yeah.
And then the nail that stands out needs to get the hammer.
Some guy comes up and tries to silence like the Lex, try to interrupt the protest, try to give his 2 cents, not really listening to what the protest
wasn't
is about.
Listening to the message.
Yeah, wasn't listening.
He just heard noise.
Yeah, he just heard noise
and a bunch of Asians. Yeah, and he said fuck them.
And then he said like, "Yo, all lives matter." I'm like, listen.
He said all lives matter.
I think I missed that part, but I think that was what I read somewhere.
That's just dismissive. Like he doesn't, he doesn't get it. Like he's just trying to take away.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just.
And I think one of the things,
the audacity of that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that he said. I mean, the guy who interrupted the protest, he said like, what you're doing is being disruptive to the neighborhood. And I'm like, look, what's being disruptive is an 89-year-old woman being assaulted. That's what's disruptive, right? And so we have to speak out about it.
Because you live in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
What about somebody came up to your mother, your sister, your grandma? Your grandma.
I'll be out looking for them in my Honda Civic.
But you know what I mean? Like then is that disruptive then? You know what? Because I'm pretty sure you're gonna want to tear shit down if somebody attacks someone you love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, like, hey, what we did, I mean, at the park as a gathering, as a rally, as a march, it wasn't disruptive. It was here. We want to express peaceful. We want to express our.
You're bringing an awareness to the situation,
anger, right? We want to express our anger in a very peaceful way,
right?
Right. So that's what the march was about. It wasn't like we weren't disturbed. Honestly, like besides that guy. People on the street, when we were marching, people were like pumping up their fists, people in their cars honking, pumping up their fists. They were supportive, of course, supporting us.
Yeah.
And I felt empowered just to see that. And, honestly, like when you watch the news, you see like people, talk bad about these like protests and march, and, about it being disruptive to, everyday life. I mean, like, look, people are actually supporting it. Like what you're showing is not it's not what people really believe in, because when I saw that I was like, wow, we're blocking the road, right? We're blocking, but they didn't care. You said let these people,
of course they're not, or they probably do care, they just don't want to get fucked up, because there's like one of them in the car. There's like one of them and like like thousands of you. So they're not gonna want any of that smoke. Like I wouldn't. I got caught in traffic at one of the first when the Black Lives Matter protests first began. I got caught on the west side, and I was one of the first cars that got, the crossings.
Oh, okay.
So and I just saw thousands of people roll by right in front of me. And obviously some people got out the car. I was like, yeah, honking, like yeah. But at the same time, other people I looked across, they were just, oh, what the hell? Sour face.
Yeah,
and
sure.
maybe they had to be in a hurry somewhere. I get it. It sucks to be in traffic, especially in New York. But that person, as soon as a few of the protesters got closer, they had the friendliest smile. Yeah, good job. Yeah, support you guys. Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy time. I mean, it's nice that we're all getting together, and I mean, I'm always down for that for the right reasons and it being peaceful. But at the same time, it's so shitty why we got together.
Yeah, and like that's the thing is that I feel like so many people are focusing on the looting and the rioting, but they're not understanding like this has been like hundreds of years of systemic racism that has combusted at this point.
Right.
And of course, like people are going to lash out the way that they're going to.
Right.
Like how can anybody who like looks at the society and is like, oh, there's no, like black people are not at a disadvantage. Like they're lying to themselves. Like who's working at Duane Reade? Look at everybody who's working there is African American. Like anybody who's working like very minimum wage jobs, like they're all African American in the city.
Right.
It's like, how can you not even like, you see it every single day.
You see it all over the place. And then you look at who occupies most of those jails, right?
Yeah.
And it's and a lot of it's for petty crime, right?
Yeah.
And
like selling marijuana, which they should not be in jail. Okay, continue.
That's a whole nother argument there. That's a whole nother argument. And it blows my mind that it's even debatable that they're saying this, that we're all on equal plane, and that it's ridiculous to say that only this matters and that matters. I'm like, hold on. I mean, you're talking all that crap. You know what? I wish just for like they had this, well, just for a second, like if they like had the Ghost of Christmas, whatever, come in and just, or one of those movies where they switch. So they could really understand.
Absolutely, because I think that's what it takes is like literally walking a mile in somebody else's shoes.
That's it.
Just to like feel that empathy.
That's
it.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's the issue that is like the individualism of America, is that like people are only concerned about themselves and what affects them, and then if it's like, and I've seen it for myself, like those people who really are only concerned about themselves.
Right. The problem is they have a mentality where they feel like there's not enough to go around. So it's either me or you. And they're acting like food's going to run out. There's a finite amount and they're all grabbing onto it. So there's like this piece of America or this piece is mine here, this piece of freedom. You can't enjoy either. Oh, this power, I can't share this power. There's not enough power to go around.
Right.
I need to have it all. I need to gobble it all. And I'm going, dude, there's so much opportunity out there. Are you insane?
Yeah.
Like, what are you looking at? Like, what are you trying to completely control? Like, if anything, it'll enhance your power. That's what I think. I think shared power in certain ways will enhance it.
Absolutely.
Because then you could be more collaborative. You can reach more people. You will learn more. You'll become stronger because of that. Or you just create competition. And it's like when I was a kid playing basketball, they were going, I remember somebody came up to me because I used to always play with the scrubs. Because I was
underdogs. Okay, all right, underdogs, right?
Yeah,
underdogs.
Yeah. No, like the guys that just
they have some skill.
No,
right?
they're scrubs. Come on,
Right.
like that weren't good. I mean, this is basketball talk, right?
Yeah.
And you know who's not that great. So I would stay on, and I was a kid myself, but I would stay on a court with the guys that weren't so good because I didn't want to get bumped. And street ball in New York City, if you lose, you're going to wait like 20 nexts. There goes your day. You're going to be like trying to hop on any team, right? And if you get hopped on a bad team, then it's like, oh man. So you play on a, and then this old timer came up to me like, man, boy, you got skills, boy. He goes, but you ain't going to get nowhere always playing with these kids right here. I mean, Every day I watch you come in and you just tearing these young boys up and they're just nothing. I mean, you need to. And I was like 12 years old. And he's like, you can actually play with the big folks over there. And as soon as I started rolling with them, I was easily the worst one. But I got better. I got better. The next summer I came back, I was dominating.
Yeah.
I was on a court where they came, yo, Will, you playing with anyone? I got you. So I think it works in the same dynamic where now you're learning from each other because you're sharing experiences or you're competing with one another. So at the same time, and you develop new allies, you know, with that has this different perspective instead of like what you were saying earlier, everyone's cookie cutter. It's North Face and Uggs. Yeah. You know, that's their wardrobe. But if they expand, you know, there's other brands out there that are pretty dope.
Yeah. I think everyone just feels very safe in their own bubble though, you know?
Yeah.
That's like the
But those
issue.
usually those people, I guess when you say bubble, those people won't grow, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they'll stay in their zone, but you know, ultimately would that be beneficial for them, you know? I see it different. I mean, me and Will, we grew up in a very diverse neighborhood, you know, with Chinese, with different Asians, with like Latinos and blacks and
Italians, Jews, Indians. You know, it was all over. It's a complete melting pot. However, diversity at that time for an Asian kid in that neighborhood was terrible. It's extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous because Asians were targeted. Asians were always getting mugged by their own people too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, by their own people and by everybody else. So it was a rough time to be Asian. I mean, everyone was getting fighting. If I didn't get in a fight, I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
Just going out to the basketball court, not even starting trouble. I was a quiet kid, and just playing basketball. Yo, I like your shoes.
Oh man, that's so
And I'm like, well,
scary.
you can't have them. And it's really scary because some of these are grown ass men and you're a kid, or like just older teenagers. And when you're a kid, there's a big difference between a 13-year-old's body and a 17-year-old kid or a 15-year-old even.
Yeah.
You know, there's a big difference in strength and physical maturity. But you know, it didn't matter to them. You just had to learn how to navigate through that at that time. But now, and I guess we were talking about this before the podcast, it's like, you know, it's tough growing up in a neighborhood where you're the minority, where you're the token anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
It's such a major challenge. And I don't know, are there any benefits to that? Like, I mean, other than no one else looks like you're pretty exclusive. Maybe to the guys. Maybe in a love life kind of thing, like all the guys might be,
No,
I like Asian
because
girls.
honestly, at my school, like I would have to date outside because, which I didn't really do much of anyways in high school, but everybody was into like blonde girls, blue eyes, like that sort of, like that was the epitome of like what is considered pretty. So I actually I was kind of insecure a lot of the time during high school because like if that was the standard of what's pretty, then like what the heck am I, you know? But like I was always like, you know, making friends out of town and like meeting other people. So I like tried to like broaden my horizons like that.
When did it all start turning around?
Probably when I went to college, like, cause I went to school here in New York City at Marymount Manhattan, and I went for theater. And being Asian in musical theater, it was honestly like kind of a leg up almost because people wanted that diversity.
Okay.
Like in a lot of ways, at least like in the program that I was in, like you would definitely be pigeonholed in a lot of ways, but also it kind of worked to my benefit a lot of the time. So yeah.
Is it because you know, New York is super diverse versus, you know, where you grew up is?
Yeah, it was like a breath
small,
of fresh air.
Yeah,
I was like, thank God I'm here finally, because like not only is it more diverse, but people don't have like those stereotypes of just like, or just like the microaggressions of like, you're Asian, so you're gonna do this. Like, of course you're smart because you're you know, just like all that bullshit. Like you kind of just like don't have to deal with as much.
Yeah.
Which is just a breath of fresh air.
Like I can just be a normal person and go about my day.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not just like the Asian girl. Like I'm also like
everyone's got to put you in a neat little silo.
Yeah, exactly.
You look like this, therefore you are. I know exactly who you are. You like rice. You like this. You like that. And there you go. That's you. How about you? Oh yeah, you're just like It's just weird. Like when I go anywhere outside of New York City, and as soon as I open my mouth and they hear the way I speak and the way I guess I carry myself, or just the energy that I have, they're all blown away. Like,
Probably
You're
so
not from around
confused.
here?
Like,
hey there, what the gosh darn is? What's going on with this guy right here? We gotta learn more about this one right here. Were you adopted?
adopted.
You know, it's just bizarre. I used to live down in Florida, and it was just
Florida.
it took them a while to warm up to me.
Yeah.
But they did. It was awesome. But where we went to school, let me tell you, I love Buffalo. I mean, we talked about this before, but this was the crazy. You want to know You want to know microaggression? We will go into, and it's probably still like that now, but we would go to a restaurant in Buffalo. If any listeners or viewers right now, if you're Asian, or even if you're not, if you go to Buffalo, look at where the Asians are. If there are any Asians in a restaurant with you, well, it's COVID now, but in the future, and I'll tell you what, we would go in. It would take them longer to seat us.
Really?
That's one. Two, when they did finally seat us, and it took. And I finally found out why it took them longer to seat us. It wasn't because they were just trying to be, dismissive of us. They actually did their job and sat us, but they sat us away from the white people. So they were creating.
Are you serious?
Yes. So they were creating
Like an actual
right?
barrier.
Tell me. Did
Well,
you
yeah,
see that?
there were-
in school?
This is Buffalo, New York?
Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
This is
Wow.
and any Asian that went to Buffalo, New York, that actually went outside to eat.
I'm never going to Buffalo.
With any type of, so it wasn't like they were going, I hate you, you chinkity chink, or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. But you can feel
It's just
that
like the passive
energy.
aggression.
That stare, that one stare, you look like you're a dirty animal,
Yeah.
right? Like,
They're like, what are you doing? At
Like you're a savage.
my
Yeah, it's almost
restaurant
like people are
or my-
suspicious of you
Yeah, yeah.
because you're like foreign.
like you're some
or
type of
Yeah.
like motherfucker, I'm American. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? But so they would sit us down and roll all the tables around us would be empty, and then it's a packed restaurant, empty, and then everybody else
That is
over there.
so insane.
Asians this side. It was so
Wow.
bizarre. Or we were at an art gallery, and
I don't think I was there.
and then I wasn't with you. I was with I think Phil.
Okay.
And so we're in an art gallery, and it's like one of those art gallery happy hours. We're drinking, we're looking at art, and I see this these white people come in, and it was all good. We didn't care. We're like, hey, what's up? I was there with my white friend and Phil and a couple of other people, and then I hear them going, hey, let's get out of here. And they said it in a normal voice, not like whispering. Let's get out of here. And he's like, why? We just got here. The white friend, goes, there's so many Asians here. I was just like, the fuck?
Well, it like full voice, like
Full voice.
normal
like,
voice.
Normal
voice.
voice. He wasn't trying to shout or be,
Yeah.
flamboyant or anything.
But he also
or
didn't
just
bother
funny.
to like whisper it or
He
just
didn't-
not
he,
say
he
it at
just
all.
said it like, I don't give a fuck.
It's which means that it's normal. It's normalized.
It's normal to
yeah.
him. Normal to him. He was like,
Yeah.
they're just.
Wow.
He was like, why do you want to leave? We just got here. He goes, there's just so many Asians here. Just like that. Like that.
yeah.
There's just so many Asians here.
so many.
And I looked out. I was like, man, I will drop kick him right now, man. I will do a flying dragon Bruce Lee kick. Like
Back
what?
fist.
What?
And,
is,
All of this, like at the end of the day, because we do feel this and we like do experience like it. I mean, it's nothing compared to like what Black people face like here. I feel like, I mean, not that it's a competition whatsoever, but like that's why I'm just like, I feel like more Asian people need to like talk about this and like,
Right.
really
Because
stand up for the Black Lives Matter movement, because I've heard like, and I have so many Asian friends who have just been like radio silent when it comes to this. And I'm like,
Yep.
But they're not just radio silent about Black lives. They're radio silent about anything.
yeah,
I bet you those same friends don't really stand up for anything. They just want to stay in their safe space. I mean, because I have friends like that.
yeah.
And if you're gonna fight, now is the time to speak up. And when we say fight, you're not physically going out there
Right.
hitting people. What we're saying is speak up or support the ones that are speaking up.
Yeah.
Share something.
Right, let your voices be heard.
We're in a digital age. You can share something. With other people,
so many
just
people
bring
have been-
awareness to it. That's
Exactly,
fighting. That's
exactly.
fighting. No one's telling you. You don't have to go out to a rally now if you're concerned about COVID or you got that anxiety. Totally get that. totally get that. But at least on social media, just bring awareness to that group, you
Yeah.
know, or to an injustice that's going
A lot
on.
of people have been like criticized for like just doing that, but I'm like, if you're gonna do anything, at least take that one step forward,
Right.
and that one step can become like another thing.
Right.
So I feel like there was like a lot of shaming going along on Instagram and just like any like social media platform.
Right.
Yeah.
Like people were like, "Oh, you're only posting this. You're only doing this on your Insta story. It's only gonna last 24 hours." But it's also raising so much awareness, and if
Right.
that like inspires other people, you can't shame people into action, but you can like inspire them by showing them like information and right.
Right.
So like even if you're not physically at those marches because you're worried about COVID and stuff like that, like you can donate, you can do all of this, you can educate
Exactly.
yourself.
Well said.
There's
There you
just
go.
so
Yeah.
much to do, you know.
That's such a great perspective, and I think you're 100% accurate on that. I mean, Nora, yesterday was your first
My first march.
march.
Yeah.
Oh, it was your
And-
first.
Yeah.
And you
Cool.
told me something when I asked you, like, hey, how did you feel about it? And you said something that was profound to me, where you felt empowered.
Yeah.
You felt like you were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And it just made you feel alive. Right. And this
Yeah.
was your first one. So you really didn't know what to expect going into it.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you did go, and it was a peaceful march, it wasn't like you guys were lighting shit on fire or attacking
Any
police
organized
officers.
march?
Nothing like that,
Right,
man.
right.
Nothing
You guys
like that.
weren't,
man.
and police officers were right there.
Imagine
and-
Norm is just like on top of a car, like with a
I would probably do that. He's seen me like go crazy.
Yeah, I've seen it. But yeah, I mean,
haven't
you
yet.
want to dig a little deeper on that.
Yeah, I mean, like just seeing, you know, the people that came out, and just seeing, you know, just bystanders, you know, throwing up their support, even though they weren't part of the march, they were supporting us, and they were like honking, and they were, you know, chanting with us, and that empowered me, and I knew that what I was doing is the right thing to do.
yeah.
Right. I mean, there's no wrong way to like to say like, hey, I'm supporting, I'm trying to bring awareness to this assault that happened in my neighborhood.
Right.
Why would anyone say
Right.
something
This
bad
happened
about that?
in the neighborhood you live in.
Yeah.
So of course you had to go out and represent. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
Yeah, this is my hood. So obviously, like
your hood, your
and-
people.
Yeah, my people. But the thing is, like, this could have happened to any person or any ethnicity. Doesn't matter.
You would have been out there.
It's just specifically because, hey, look, right now our voices need to be heard, right? So, like, a lot of times, like, a lot of the older generation and a lot of Asians in general, they just don't want to bring trouble into their, you know, household, their lives.
Right.
But hey, this grandma, you know, she said, you know, she said like, you know, she didn't tell her family until the next day.
I know, that's crazy, right?
And I'm like, you know, these things have to be reported, they have to be told, and they have to be like, look, expressed in a positive way. So like, you know, if we're angry, I'm angry, but I don't want to tear shit up yet.
Right.
But if you continue to like ignore what's happening, all these abuses, all these assaults against Asians, then shit's gonna pop off, and you don't want that. I mean, police, they don't want that. You know,
Right.
just in general, the city doesn't want that.
Right.
So take care of take care of it now.
Right.
That's why we're out there.
That's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know, you're a tax-paying citizen.
Yeah.
In your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then they're going to allow a crime like that to happen without any resolution or ongoing effort. They
Yeah.
just said, "Oh, that happened. We can't figure anything out," and that's it.
Well,
and
the
let
thing-
it end there. And that's where I can understand a community being outraged by that.
Right. In terms of effort, it's sort of like, hey, like this is happening to the Asian community. Okay, maybe we can sweep this under the rug, but we're not going to allow you to do so because we're going to raise our voices, and we're going to make ourselves heard.
Right.
Through this valley.
Because they got comfortable
Yeah.
being dismissive
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of their eyes, the Asian life, and I hate to say this, but these are facts. In a lot of their eyes, an Asian life is worth less. It's worth less. And I can give you several perfect examples, but I'll just give one that points out. If a crime is done to an Asian male, right, or Asian female in this matter, they either dismiss the crime like as this now, where they don't look for the criminals, or if they do find them, they get like what, 1-2 years. They get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
They get a slap on the wrist for the same crime done to a white person. Forget it. That you'll be done. You'll be crucified. You gotta.
We're not on the same playing
You
field.
are in denial.
Yeah, you need to get out your little bubble.
I mean, the amount of debates, just pointless conversations that I've had with people over like them not accepting that white privilege is a thing is like, I've had so many over quarantine. And as soon as like the Black Lives Matter movement happened, they were just like, white privilege isn't a thing because my life is so hard in this way. And I'm like, and I understand that. Problems. I understand that. And like, I'm not saying that you've had an easy life, but also the reason that your life has been hard is not because of the color of your skin. It's like that's not a factor in the equation, you know? Whereas you could have other things like playing against you, of course, but like your skin color is not.
I mean, people like that are out of touch. You know, they're looking at everything from up here. So their problems are different. They're dealing with people up here.
First world problems.
You know, I have friends like that. And when I hear them complain about their problems and they're acting like it's a life and death issue, I'm looking at them like, yo, that's a layup problem. You want to trade? I'll trade that problem now with my problems.
It's like I'm required to wear a mask.
You know, like, yeah.
And that's a problem.
Oh my God. The mask issue just needs to stop. Like people just need to wear their masks and
this like crazy, like, did you guys see this video where like some people go in supermarkets and they start to throw this like tantrums and they just like started throwing their food on the floor. I'm like, what? I mean, like if you're so against wearing a mask, then leave. Go somewhere else. Like, why even cause this like huge issue?
Did you guys so you heard about like McDonald's and like all those places they have the rule not to serve
they're requiring
Walmart
and
McDonald's.
then I think my boyfriend was like, oh, how long is it going to take for someone to shoot up like a restaurant over that? And literally the next day they did.
What?
Like a woman literally shot up McDonald's because they wouldn't like, I'm not sure exactly, but I don't know the details. I should have probably.
Psychopath.
Yeah. Like she went into her car, like after she was turned away, went into her car, grabbed her gun and like shot up the place. And I think only people were injured, like nobody was killed, but still like it's just crazy.
That's just boggles my mind. Like,
yeah.
The level of
I laugh just because it's just so insane. Like
it's
stupid.
When you say stupidity, I'm thinking like this is like it's so inconvenient for you to not wear a mask, so you bring a gun and shoot it up, and now the inconvenience now is that you're gonna be like taken to jail. So that's more of an inconvenience than
what's
what it was
scary
before.
is that these people have kids. Like some people they made more of you. Like, you know, you
procreated.
Yeah, you're making more copies of that.
No, thank you.
I know we were talking about, you know, how, you know, marching affected me, like empowerment, but you know, you went on several marches, right?
Yeah.
How did you?
I went to a big Connecticut one, which is awesome because actually I bumped into like a classmate there, and she was like one of the big organizers of the whole thing, and she's actually she's a councilwoman like for the town.
Oh wow.
So she like made a speech, and like she was also an actor before, so her speech was bomb. Like it was just like she utilized all those vocal cords, all of her diaphragm. Her name is Trinae McGee.
Trinae McGee.
Yeah, and she is just like incredible. And yeah, I like made a couple signs, and like we were handing out water and stuff, and like that was the first one that I went to, and then I've been on a couple biking ones too.
So what did you feel like? And those were your first marches? Or?
No, I've always done like you know, environmental marches and like women's rights marches, and like when the Black Lives Matter movement was happening initially a few years ago, I like marched for that too. So yeah. Do
you think it'll get better?
I do.
Women's rights,
God,
equality.
I hope so. I keep watching like Handmaid's Tale, and I'm like, what if we just go the opposite direction?
That's so scary.
And like now we like have this like TV show as a model of like
what
TV
show
could
called?
be. It's called Handmaid's Tale.
Is that on Netflix or?
It's on Hulu.
On Hulu, okay.
Yeah.
Handmaid's Tale, okay.
Yeah, it's like intense. It's this dystopian society, and like
where we go backwards.
Where we basically go backwards, and it's like very like just religious and all these women, like, they can't have babies anymore, and only like a select group can. So they're basically made into these like slaves, like these like baby making slaves.
So the powerful take this specific group of women who can procreate and take them and then make them handmaidens to the rich. So the rich are procreating with these select group of women.
And they have this like mating ceremony. I don't want to give it away since you haven't watched it, but it's absolutely insane.
How many
where
seasons?
Everybody participates. Like, even the wife who is not having sex is there.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. And does this take like 100 years, or like is this like 2021?
It's so scary. It's so
like,
scary.
What's the setting of it? Is it 2021 or is it like
it's only like a few years into the future,
It's a near
right?
future. Like
near
it's,
future?
Yeah.
All right, so
Because it's not like they have like
2020.
insane technology there.
Because the way things are going now, I had this exact argument with a couple of my friends, and they go, "Will, I don't think," their argument to me is it's not going to get better.
Really?
They think all of this is going to make everything go backwards.
I really hope not. Like, I'm trying to stay like, you know,
they would never come on a
optimistic about it.
podcast.
Yo,
because
I disagree
just
with
not
that.
type, but
You know why I disagree
I
with that?
disagreed with that too.
Yeah, but I'll give you my 2 cents of why I disagree with that. Because if they're saying what they're saying, and what they really believe is that all these things that are happening, the protests and everything, has no benefit or won't progress anything.
Not that it has no benefits. They didn't
Okay.
say that. When I speak, when I'm speaking to them, they love it. They stand for it. They're eye to eye with us on this. They get it. However, they think that it's only going to, if we go to war with them.
Like, everyone's in.
Because I know Trump supporters, and they're so afraid of going on camera. We had a couple people on a podcast told us they're Trump supporters, major Trump supporters. Our previous guests, yeah. See that reaction right there? You see that reaction?
Who?
That's what I'm. But some people will take that reaction. They'll take.
I've been surrounded by a lot of Trump supporters lately, and like,
yeah, you have a unique perspective on that.
But continue with your.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying though. Like, now you can't believe in this. I mean, yes, even though I disagree with you that you believe that, you know, this person should be supported, I as the American way, I shouldn't attack you for it. I shouldn't attack you for you, but you should have your freedom. I could disagree with you. We could get in a debate respectfully, but that shouldn't, you know what I mean? That shouldn't make me assault you.
No, and nothing should ever come to a physical altercation
or dismiss you, but that's what it's coming to, and people are becoming more vocal, more aggressive about this, more than I've ever seen.
Well, I think it's also because people are just like belittling the fact that, like, I mean, human rights shouldn't be political, right? That's what it comes down to. And like, the fact that it is, and it's coming to that, is just like, no, I just want to be equal to you. Like, that shouldn't be up for debate. That shouldn't be like, oh, we're just like sitting in our suits and we're like discussing my life over, like, you know,
A fancy dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
What was your point?
Yeah, so my point was, like, you know, everything that your friends have said. The funny thing is, like, everything that we're going through right now, it's happened before historically. Civil rights movement, it's happened. Divisiveness, presidents were divisive back then too. You know, even when the formation of the United States of America, very divisive. So what I'm saying is, like, we've been through this before, and we're gonna still continue and progress. You know, I don't think we might take a few steps back, but it's not gonna change the fact that we're gonna move forward, right? We're gonna have those people who will always cause that division, but we're gonna have more people who would push, the right path for the people, right?
So you believe that it's gonna get better.
Yeah.
We're gonna get what we sort of want.
Yeah.
Right. It's gonna be. They're gonna give us something enough to settle us down
until the next division.
Until the next division. What if it's not enough? That's what I'm saying. And then what if it creates? It's so hard to put this eloquently, but I'm concerned that it can go the other way. We're thinking we're solving something, and because we created a whole nother monster, thinking we
Oh
solved
yeah,
something.
that's very possible. No, it's very possible.
That's the concern. I mean,
It's sort of like that catch-22. If you defund the police, then you take away the.
that's
you know
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
there's a reaction to every.
thank
action,
you. That's
know,
it.
so-
Yeah. I get this. I'm down. I mean, I'm with a lot of these ideas, but
The
I don't
ideology is there.
100%.
Like, I totally back it. Like,
Yeah.
it's there.
Like, for example, defunding police.
Right.
Right. That's one thing that I totally disagree with. I if anything, look, because I believe police officers should be paid more. They get paid $42,000. We had our friend who's a police officer.
Yeah.
They get paid $42,000.
Yeah. It's
That's
not like
insane.
they're
In
like
New York City.
millionaires. Like, you know.
You don't want to give them jobs for certain situations. You're saying you could pass that on to someone else. Well, that may work in a nice neighborhood, but in an aggressive, high crime neighborhood, I don't know. Would you want to be the person that gets that phone call and go, "Hey, someone's having an argument, and you know, I need you to go over there and talk to them and try to make sure
Right.
everything's okay."
Right.
What if it escalates into something?
Right.
And you're a woman, right? And maybe it's two big, muscular men.
Right.
And they're going at it, and they're having an argument, and now what are you supposed to do? Use your mind to stop them? Are you Professor X, Jean Grey? Like, what are you supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Things, and I'm not saying all situations are like that, but the police needs to be there as an insurance.
Yeah. And like, I understand, like, in an ideal society, we would have so many like other resources that we could pull from to like mediate these situations. But like the immediate consequences are just so dire of defunding the police that I don't know. It's scary to think of what our society will be in that in-between stage, you know?
It'll be complete chaos.
Yeah.
And something worse will emerge that will police that neighborhood.
I've just been like, Norm and I were talking about this earlier, how police are kind of like turning a blind eye to so much crime going on even now, just because with everything going on, like in my
Like
neighborhood in
you
Jackson
mentioned your
Heights, like there
neighborhood.
was a guy who was just like throwing around glass bottles, and like there were literally two policemen right there and they just ignored him. Like he was like violently like throwing, and just like anybody could have gotten hit.
If I'm a police officer and I'm going, I might go, is it worth the risk right now?
Right.
You know, people
Especially
are
in
gonna,
the like what's happening right now, where you're not even
Right.
going to be appreciated for what you're doing.
right? You know, yin and yang. You're gonna have some bad apples.
Yeah.
And you need the police to make some of these people think twice.
Yeah.
You need that. And if you say defund the police, then who's gonna watch? Who's supposed to? You know, you're gonna create a local militia? Because that's going to be worse. People new to power. New power
so
is
much
is
worse. Are you
not good.
kidding me?
They don't know. They're going to get drunk off their own shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to get a whole new set of problems.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that like you can't just defund the police. You have to.
It's the
put
Wild
that,
West.
You have to put that money into other
Yeah.
things that will help these
community,
situations.
yeah.
Yeah. And like, it's going to take a lot of work.
So I have some sources on my end. So the people who are, you know, when we're seeing like the increase in crime rate and everything like that, it's not really anything new. Like the police know who the bad apples are. They know the gangs. They know the players who are causing these robberies and stuff like that. They already know.
Oh yeah,
It's just that when I was
these
speaking
people
to May,
probably have priors.
yeah. So when I speak to May, I'm saying like they're probably just looking the other way. They're not focused on this because of, you know, okay, you wanted to fund the police. Okay, well,
See what happens,
we don't
like-
want, yeah, we see what happens. We won't focus on the things that really matter to you guys, you know, to your community.
They'll just do enough.
Exactly.
There's no above and beyond.
because they know they know who the criminals are. It's the same people who are causing
It's the same actors.
same actors. So they can just go after them, and that's it. I mean, with the whole thing with like getting rid of the anti-crime, you know, task force. You know, did the people really want that? You know, the communities really want that. It's funny because when they got rid of the anti-crime task force, the community came out and said, well, why'd you disband this? You know, this group of, you know, officers, because they were actually helping the community and reducing crime. So it's so weird to me, man. I don't know who's at the top, who's like, you know, saying like, oh, get rid of these departments, and you see these like, and all of a sudden you see this rise in crime. It's like, was this on purpose? You know?
And there has to be something else in play that we're just not seeing yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna see it when they allow us, but it's a secret right now. We just don't really know what's up.
The police have the analytics. They have all the data.
There's something up, man.
So.
Something's just not right. It's just right. Why would you ignore crime? Why would you? You know what I mean? Like, what's up with that? Why would you make it more difficult for the police?
Mm-hmm.
Right, where you're almost encouraging worse policing at a time where people are complaining about it the most. Why would you?
There's the angle, They want to. They want.
I don't know the answer to that.
They want to.
But I'm curious.
The way I see it is, they want the community to say, like, we want the police back. We want to give. We're okay now. We're okay with giving the police.
They want us to come back begging and pleading.
I think that's what they want the communities to do.
I think there's something bigger. I think there's something. I don't think you're wrong. Mm-hmm. Right? Because who doesn't love and I told you so? Who doesn't love that feeling? I told you so, right? But I think when you're dealing at that level of politics, it's always something to do with money and power. They're playing chess.
Yeah.
3D chess, for that matter.
Well, that's because they have all the information. We don't. We have
not just regular chess.
Not just regular chess. All right.
Virtual reality.
3D floating chess.
3D floating chess.
It's
That's
like
right.
different levels here.
Let's move into some lighter topics.
Yeah, this has been heavy. I've been sinking into my chair. I'm like,
yeah, we're fresh off, the protest yesterday, and this is all just like I guess a sore open wound that we're just trying to recover
of course.
from.
Yeah, everything's still new to me,
So let's talk about dating, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
How did that work during quarantine, May? Because you were bouncing from different places, and then
it was tricky, especially when I was so we actually did an Airbnb situation in Newport for like a week or so, and we saw each other that way. And then after that, we were just like, oh yeah, we're gonna see each other every week or something like that, every weekend, whatever. And then my parents just like dropped the bomb, like, May, if you leave one more time, you can't come back here. Like, because I had only left once to go to Newport, right? He picked me up and like everything like that. And they were just like, yeah, like you're going to become a risk to us if you keep going back and forth. And I'm like, I understand that. Yeah, I get it. And I'm just like, but that means I like have to go back to New York where it's like literal infestation of corona. So I was just like, okay, so I'll stay home. But then that meant like not seeing him for like 5 weeks. And we were just like losing our minds.
Right.
And on top of it, my mom was getting stricter and stricter with like the rules that I was talking to you about before. And I was like, and we just had like a little bit of a blowout, a little baby one. We're fine now. We're fine now, but like
we're on speaking terms.
We're totally on speaking terms. Like she sends me pictures of her garden. We're fine. And so I stayed with his family in Connecticut, and it was interesting. It was, I mean, his family is like so nice, but they like his mom is a Trump supporter, like very
awkward,
very intensely so, and like loud and proud, like has the rhetoric always floating around the house, like she has those like speakers that like it's not like a dialogue, it's just a monologue of them like talking about like the stuff in their like sort of I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, they were just basically like talking into a vacuum without anybody to like debate them or anything. So
like
it
an
was
echo chamber.
Yeah, and it was just constantly playing throughout the house. And so for a month and a half, and I was kind of like
no music.
They're trying to brainwash
There's
you.
music. There's a lot of music.
Fox News,
like,
no music.
But like,
one of us.
But like, I was just like, oh man, like I'm getting like brainwashed here. But so then I was just like, okay, I need to go back to New York, and like everything was calming down a little bit. And honestly, like my boyfriend and I, we were just like together all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, how could you not fight? If you're like constantly like in this like one house, we're constantly seeing each other every single day, no space, neither of us are working because he's a musician,
right?
And we got into some big tiffs, but
you and your boyfriend,
but we worked it out. We're on really, really great
come out stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
He's sending you pictures of his garden.
What?
Sorry.
But it's so funny because I was talking to, so I'm in a relationship obviously, but I was talking to my friends about like what is going on with like quarantine dating and whatnot. And it's still a thing. Like it's weird, but it's a thing. And people are using like Hinge and Tinder and everything like that.
How does that work, quarantine dating?
So
With your friend.
I guess
obviously,
using my one friend as an example, she was in Massachusetts at the time and she was talking to this guy who was in New York, and they were just like Snapchatting back and forth for like 2 months. And so they had like gotten to like,
what a tease.
I know. But they had like gotten to know each other like pretty well, right? And so then they finally met up, and like she was really she wasn't into it initially, but then she got into it, and then it kind of fizzled out, but still it happened.
Wait, so they met up wearing masks? Like how did it work?
I mean, no,
No, they got to get like, humans are humans.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
I mean, I feel like since they both knew, like they had both been quarantining.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
Like they both had been like very strict about it and whatnot. And then once she went back to New York, I think they just like met up almost immediately, and like, because there was nobody else. Like, I don't know if you guys have experienced it, but like a lot of my friends went back to their home states. Yeah.
A lot of the folks that we work with in entertainment, they went back to their home states, or they took a hiatus. If they were from New York, they left. They either left to upstate New York, or they left to Florida, or
different parts of the state. And
they just left the country.
Yeah.
So they're just like, we're going to Antarctica now.
Here's what I'm seeing in the dating scene, right? I go out here and there, right? I'm not actually, I walk by because everything's outdoors now. So you know, obviously you don't have to walk in an establishment to see if it's popping. Yeah. You can just literally do a bike by or a drive by, right?
And you also have to plan it like strategically. You can't just like go to a bar. You can't like, you have to make reservations. You have to make a set of plans. And like, I feel like a lot of things are less spontaneous, and that's almost like a better thing, right? Because like you can't get too drunk at bars. Like, I mean, the trains shut down at midnight, you know? So it's almost creating like a different culture of dating, I feel like, you know? But it's like, I feel like it's better.
You like it better?
Yeah, I kind of like it more.
There's more attention to detail, more effort put into it.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like you have these set plans. It's not like, oh, I'm with my friends, we happen to bump into each other. It's like, no, we're going to do this. It just seems more like precarious, you know?